Hello, beautiful people. I believe I am live. Happy Friday. As usual, this is your Friday free training. And today I want to talk about something really interesting. So I was listening to a podcast this week, and the person that was doing the podcast he was making a point about how to grow your business, and that there's actually kind of a method to the madness to growing your business. So his message was, don't be cute. And I love that because it's such a great message, especially as we're trying to figure out, like, what's our expertise? How are we going to teach it? How do we kind of package what we do? I love that concept of don't be cute, and I want to explain why. Because here's the thing, is that the very first thing that you need to do when you are sort of declaring your expertise is to go out, figure out who you want to work with and what problem you can solve within your expertise, right? It's not just being like, I'm an expert at this, so I'm going to get up and teach everything I know about this topic. That's not actually the way that it works. The way that it works is to say, I'm an expert. I am uniquely qualified to help these people, the people that you want to help, and you're going to solve their problem through your expertise. So when you're trying to figure out, like, how do I teach, and what's my framework, and how do I kind of structure this and put it together, it's not about the what you want to teach. It's really about how do you create that path to results for that particular person that you're helping, right? So what problem are you solving, and then how do you get them the results to that problem, right? So how do you fix that problem for them through what you're teaching? That's at the essence of building your online program. And to be honest, building any repeatable process within your business is really looking at, how do you create a consistent approach to how you're helping people, how you're solving that problem. So I wanted to illustrate that today with you, in terms of, like, so how do you do that, right? How do you decide what your process is? And that's where, like, the don't be cute thing comes into play, because every industry has a standard process, right? There's a sort of a standard approach that has been proven to work in every single industry. Doesn't matter what industry it is. There's some sort of standard way that people do the work, right? There's a cadence or an order, in terms of how things work. And so really, when you're first looking at, how do you package this, how do you solve a problem for a particular person, it's really going out and saying, okay, so what's the standard that exists in that industry, and use that standard, right? So the cute part, the part where you're adding your unique flavor, is in how you're presenting it, the experience that you're creating. But it's not around the actual process itself. So often I'm working with people and they haven't clearly defined the process, that meaning the steps that they're taking somebody on to get from where they are today to where they're going in the future. And so they struggle with how to teach it, and what the cadence is around that. And so if you were to look at, say you pick like 5 to 10 people who are in your industry who are doing something similar to what you're doing, chances are there are some sort of consistent steps. Now, you may call them something different. You may, speak to your clients about them differently, right? Give them a new title or whatever. But at the core, the process is the same. So let me just illustrate what I mean by this. So I'm gonna, because my house is under construction right now, I'm, deep into the construction process with the people who are working on our house, and I find it fascinating, right, as sort of someone who's trained in managing projects, that there is an order to how things happen, right? There's an order to starting a project. Is you're doing discovery, kind of figuring out, like, what are you gonna build, what are you gonna create, whatever it is that you're doing the project, all the way to launching it or finishing it, right? So everything in between are the steps that somebody has to take in order to successfully execute on the project or the service or whatever it is, right? So when you're looking at creating that framework or that path, it's really looking at, like, what's the standard that's out there, and then how do you make your unique twist on that particular process. And the more you can dial that in, the clearer and more simplified your approach will be when you're helping people. because that's really what's going to make the biggest difference. So let's just look at this quickly. I am going to share my screen if I can do that. We'll see if it lets me choose my screen. No. Let's see, let's show my other display. You get to see all this junk that's going on my desktop. Let's see, oh, there it is. All right, so, so when I look at this, I'm gonna type in construction process. Oops. Oh my gosh. And I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but I do have sound effects of construction, just because my computer is really slow, so it's not grabbing what I wanted to grab. All right, let's, come on. It's working. Oh my goodness. Okay, so so it's bringing it up. So when you go out and kind of search your industry, I don't know if you know that you can do this, but you can go to like the industry plus process, and you can kind of see like what are all the ways that that people are describing the process. So for me, in online courses, there's a very standard process in terms of how we do things. Every company is the same. It's just they'll put a unique spin or a new name or a new way of visualizing the roadmap that makes it unique. But essentially, you're starting at the beginning of a project with trying to figure out like what is the ask to delivering it at the back end, right? So, and anywhere in between. So we look at the construction process, and there is an actual process for how it works in the industry, right? So you're defining the project, you're doing pre-construction planning, so you're designing and doing pre-construction. Then you are you're looking at procurement, right? You have to get all your supplies and materials. Then you move into the construction phase where you're actually doing the building and doing all the things that go with that. Then you're doing post-construction, which is typically kind of the punch list of reviewing things and whatever else, and then the owner or the business moves in, and then you do a project closeout, right? So standard steps. Now, some people do standard steps like have 5 steps. Some will blow it out to 10 because they think that those are the essential steps. But essentially, there's a cadence to it. So when you're going out and researching your framework, if you don't have one set up already, really go out and look and see, like, okay, so what are the commonalities that all of these different construction process, what they have, right? So if you look at some of these, I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole because my computer is really slow, but if you look at this, like, some people have, created their project flow visually. Some have it more like an infographic. Some have it in terms of, just a standard flow chart. Others have it more graphically depicted, right? So that's how you start kind of looking at, how do I define how to solve this problem? How do I define what the standards are in an industry? Is just go out and start comparing it and do your research around that, because that's when you really will get a sense for how to build out that framework, how to lead to that problem, and then I would take it to the next level and say, how do you simplify it even more, right? So if this person has, 25 steps here, how can I bring it up to the next level and have it be 5 steps, right? So that's really helps somebody see clearly how they're going to go about this process. So I loved that saying that the person I was following said, don't be cute, right? Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Don't try and create something totally different. Stay within the standards. Just look at how you can deliver the results, the promised result to that person or your people in a way that's authentic to you, right? How do you show up? What kind of experience do you want to create? How do you want to serve them? All of those things are ways that you can show up uniquely to teach your thing, because the chances of other people in your industry or with your expertise actually doing this is really high, right? You're going to have a lot of people. Let me go back on camera. You're going to have a lot of people who are, so-called your competitors. But when you set yourself apart by having your own proprietary framework and your unique way that you're delivering on that standard framework, that's what's going to, set you apart. It's not like I'm going to change the framework, I'm going to do something totally different. And like you think about the construction process, the one that I just used, like you don't start construction before you've procured your materials and before you've planned what you're building, right? Or you don't say, I'm going to build a house, but I'm just going to build the bathroom first. I'm not going to build the rest of it yet because I really want to see what this bathroom is going to be like. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? You're not going to do that because it doesn't follow the process. And so regardless if you're doing one-on-one work or done for you services, or you're trying to package what you do to get it out to more people in an online course or online program, that is the first thing that you need to do, is really set up, like, how is it that we go through this process? What's the standard? How does this work, right? You take the fitness industry, for example, and there are lots of different ways that people show up, but essentially in the fitness industry, you have, you have nutrition, you have exercise, and you have general health, right? So you're not going to make something up that's totally different. You could make up a different recipe, a different way of like putting all of that together, but there are standards that are happening, and there is a cadence to how things work, right? You do this first, and then you do this, and you do this other thing. So hopefully that serves you as you're trying to figure out, like, okay, great, I'm an expert at this. I really want to create a course, a program, a membership, or whatever you want to create to help serve people and solve those particular challenges that people have. And you're going to solve that problem. You're going to get to that place of, being able to answer that question clearly for yourself. That's like, why would somebody buy my program when they could just get what I have to offer on Google or YouTube or whatever, right? This is going to solve that particular problem for you in your mind and for your people, because what you're doing is you're packaging up that process and giving it to them in a way that is faster and an experience that helps them kind of step by step and really gives them what they need to be successful, versus like, yeah, go out and figure out what it is you need to do, and because people don't necessarily know what the structure is for each industry. And so that you're there to give that to them and give that unique way of you showing up and teaching your thing in a way that really helps people. So there is my Friday tip for you today. I hope that you have a great day, a great weekend, a great holiday if you are celebrating this weekend. And add your comments, add any feedback you have below, or any questions. I am going live every Friday. Would love to be able to answer your specific questions about what you're working on right now with your online course, your online program, or if you're just in that place of like, well, you know what, I really want to transition what I'm doing because I'm burnt out. I'm on the roller coaster ride, and there's got to be a better way to serve more people and also enjoy the quality of my life. Then, jump into this conversation, ask questions. Would love to be able to show up for you and help you do that. In Learn Academy, we are having these conversations all the time. So, here's the thing, like, everybody's going through this. Everybody goes through this transition of, how do I do this? How do I package what I'm doing? How do I either to, sort of serve more people, serve your own people in a different way, or show up differently so you can enjoy some different things that are happening other than just spending your time in your business helping your customers kind of repeat that same thing all the time. So listen, this is what we're doing. These are the conversations that we're having. Would love to have you be a part of that. Add your comments, add your questions, and join the conversation. All right, there you go. Have a good one.